Welcome back to Up Front. The Trump administration is moving forward with an aggressive new policy on immigration enforcement. Homeland Security has expanded the scope of eligibility for deportation. And that has advocates for immigrants worried about mass roundups and deportations. We're talking more about this today with Democratic State Representative Jocasta Zamarripa, who represents a majority Latino district on Milwaukee's near South Side. Representative, it's good to have you back on the program.
Glad to be back, Mike.
Well, describe for me what it's like in your community, the state's largest Hispanic community. How do people feel these days?
There's real fear in the community right now and uncertainty because we don't know all the facts. We feel that there's a lot of rumors and untruths swirling around on social media, but there's also a real resiliency and strength in the community. We've already had a couple of marches in Milwaukee that Voces de la Frontera organized and other partner organizations, and I have been so heartened by the thousands upon thousands of mainly Latino Wisconsinites, but immigrants across the spectrum, showing up for ourselves, standing together with their neighbors, Muslim, Latino, Asian. It's heartened me, and I'm hopeful.
I guess maybe we can talk a little bit about the mixed messages that have come from the White House. You've had President Trump talking about increasing the numbers of federal agents who can participate in basically deporting people who've committed crimes in this country. But at the same time, we've had the Homeland Security Director, General Kelly, say there will be no mass deportations. Do you understand exactly what's going on, or are you still uncertain about what the plan is? You
know, my staff and I are always combing not just the executive order, but now the rules that ICE have put out, because we do need to dispense accurate information to the community. We know now that every unauthorized immigrant is up for grabs, so to speak. It's open season right now.
Because they're here illegally. Yes, that would mean they broke a law.
Undocumented immigrants across the board, and that includes dreamers who came here through no fault of their own as very young children.
Now, the president said he doesn't want to touch the dreamers, doesn't he?
That's DACA. DACA dreamers, you're right. Deferred Action for Childhood Arrival remains untouched, and that's the silver lining. That's a good thing. We have thousands upon thousands of DACA dreamers, and we are hopeful that that program will stay in place. But it was a promise that President Trump made to his supporters that he would repeal it. But for now, DACA dreamers are good.
What are you advising people in the community to do at this point?
So I'm telling my DACA dreamers, if they're already in the program, go ahead and renew it. If they're a dreamer and they'd like to try to apply for DACA, what I've heard from many immigration attorneys in the community is to let's just stay for a minute. Don't sign up if you haven't done it at all on an initial time. And let's wait and see. In this political climate, these are dark days for immigrant families. And I personally am fearful for them, and I want to make sure I give them, again, the most accurate information.
I want to get your reaction to something that the president says. He says there are a lot of Americans who say people are here in this country illegally. Those who have broken the law in some way, whether it be a serious crime or maybe even a lesser crime. Why should they be in the country? Why shouldn't the United States be enforcing the laws of the land?
Certainly, I think that folks who have committed a criminal offense, President Obama did it, and he got criticized for it. He prioritized criminals, folks who committed violent crimes, gang members, drug dealers. He did prioritize them for deportation. But President Obama was committed to not splitting up families. And so undocumented immigrants who were here, who had been here for a number of years, who had families, perhaps children who are U.S. citizens, they would not be immediately deported if they were contributing members to society. And we know overwhelmingly immigrants are a peaceful people. We know that statistically speaking, there are low violent crime rates amongst immigrant communities. And so I think it's important that we be pragmatic when we look at this issue. It is a broken immigration system in our country. We know that. We know that many of these immigrants came here legally and lawfully and then fell into the crack that is our broken immigration system, and that's why now they're here undocumented.
If the Trump administration does as it says it tends to do and be more aggressive in terms of deporting people who've committed crimes in this country and here illegally, what are the consequences long term of this new attitude toward immigrants or undocumented people in this country?
The consequences are diminished, lowered public safety for all of us, Mike, not just undocumented immigrants. And that's what I'm...
People won't come forward if they have information. They won't
Exactly.
cooperate with authorities.
Yes, and that puts your public safety at risk as much as it puts the undocumented immigrants' public safety at risk. We need this community of people to feel that they can reach out to their local law enforcement. And if they think that they or their family members will be at risk for immediate deportation without due process, well, then those calls aren't going to be made. And so your public safety is at risk. When you want to come into my wonderful district and dine in Walker's Point, perhaps Mike Goucher will think twice before heading out to do that, because everybody's public safety is diminished when we are encouraging people to go further underground.
Jocasta Zamarripa is the state representative from Milwaukee's near South Side, Democrat. It's good to have you back on the program. We appreciate your time today.
Thank you, Mike.
Governor Walker wants to end the DNR's century-old Natural Resources magazine. We'll be hearing from a former editor on why she thinks this is being done. That's coming up next on Upfront.